When the lights came back on, Mutinda stood in the center of the room, dressed in striking red and holding a long walking stick. Kilonzo, his bravado evaporating, walked up to Mutinda, only for Mutinda to hold both his cheeks like how an adult does to a child. "You are nothing but a small child to me." There and then, Mutinda would disappear into thin air. The lights then came back on. Kilonzo, confused, turned back to his friends. "Did you guys see that?" he asked. Kilonzo's friends, bewildered, did not seem to understand what Kilonzo was talking about. All the four of them had seen were the lights flickering, then turning back on. "No! That weirdo Mutinda was just here a minute ago. He grabbed my face, called me a child, then disappeared into thin air," Kilonzo bellowed, his eyes now wide and reddening. His friends just stared at him with a mix of confusion and lightheartedness. They thought he was cracking a joke or something. In the serene village of Mwalah, nestled in Kitui County, Kenya, the vibrant life of a community revolved around a close-knit circle of friends. Kilonzo, a towering figure of muscle and vigor, was a prominent member of this group. He was often found at the local gym, pumping iron with his four steadfast friends. Mwangi, a jovial man with an infectious laugh. Otieno, the quiet observer with a sharp wit. Kamau, the ever-optimistic and resourceful one. And Chalo, the gentle giant with a heart of gold. The quintet shared a brotherly bond, their camaraderie palpable to anyone who saw them together. The gym was not just a place of physical exertion, but a sanctuary where they forged their brotherhood. After grueling workouts, they would head to their local recreational center, their sanctuary of relaxation and revelry. There they would unwind, sharing cold drinks and casting admiring glances at the local girls who frequented the place. The laughter and banter flowed freely, the friendship solidifying with each passing day. Among this group of friends, there was Mutinda, a man whose slender frame and quiet demeanor set him apart. Mutinda seldom joined them at the gym, preferring instead the occasional visit to the recreational center. Despite his irregular presence, he was a part of their circle, a silent yet significant member who brought a different energy to the dynamic. Kilonzo, despite his robust exterior and unwavering confidence, found himself ensnared in a web of financial troubles. His savings, once ample, had dwindled alarmingly, leaving him desperate for a solution. One evening, as the group gathered at the recreational center, Kilonzo felt a surge of anxiety. He needed to act, to find a way out of his predicament. Drawing Mutinda aside, Kilonzo's voice trembled with a mix of desperation and hope. "Mutinda, I'm going through a rough patch. I need a loan of about 15,000 Kenya shillings, he confessed, his eyes pleading for understanding. Mutinda, although taken aback by the request, agreed to help. He saw the earnestness in Kilonzo's eyes and decided to extend a helping hand. Kilonzo, relieved and grateful, promised to repay the loan within a week, and that was by March 30th. The promise was sealed, and for a moment, Kilonzo felt the heavy burden lift from his shoulders. A week later, the friends reconvened at the recreational center, their laughter and chatter filling the air. However, beneath the surface, tension simmered. Mutinda, keeping his promise, took Kilonzo aside to inquire about the repayment. Kilonzo's face turned somber, and guilt arched across his features. I'm really sorry, Mutinda. I haven't raised the money yet. Can you give me another week? He pleaded, his voice laced with desperation. Mutinda, trusting in their friendship, agreed. All right, Kilonzo, I'll give you until April 5th. Make sure you have the money by then, he said, his tone firm yet understanding. Kilonzo nodded, gratitude evident in his eyes. He assured Mutinda that he would undoubtedly have the money by the new deadline. As April 5th approached, Kilonzo's anxiety grew. Once again, he found himself empty-handed. When the day arrived, Mutinda, his patience waning, confronted Kilonzo. Do you have the money this time? He asked, his voice tinged with frustration. Kilonzo, looking more guilty than ever, concocted a new story. I was on my way here when I got robbed by some thugs. They took all my money, he explained, his tone pleading for belief. Mutinda, although skeptical, felt a pang of sympathy. All right, I understand, but you need to figure out a way to pay me back. When will you have the money? He asked, his frustration barely concealed. Kilonzo, desperate to buy more time, promised to have the money by April 10th. I'm going to try the lottery. I had a dream about the winning numbers. I'm sure I'll win, he said, his voice filled with a faint sense of hope. Mutinda, though doubtful, agreed to give him one last chance. April 10th came, and once again, Kilonzo had no money. He met Mutinda at the recreational center, his face a mask of guilt and defeat. I tried the lottery and lost all my money. I don't have any to give you, he confessed, his voice trembling with remorse. Mutinda, now infuriated, could no longer contain his anger. I've given you ample time. You need to pay me back now, he demanded, his voice firm and unyielding. Kilonzo, feeling cornered and defenseless, resorted to arrogance. I told you I lost all my money. What do you expect me to do? He shouted, his tone harsh and confrontational. Mutinda, not willing to back down, stood his ground. Figure out how to pay me back. I don't care what you have to do, he retorted, his voice unwavering. Kilonzo, using his physical advantage, began to shove Mutinda, his frustration boiling over. Are you trying to threaten me? I won't pay you back. What are you going to do about it? He bellowed, his voice filled with bravado. Mutinda, not willing to engage further in the confrontation, stormed off. I will deal with you later, he said, his voice filled with determination. Kilonzo, believing he had triumphed, went home feeling victorious. He had dinner with his wife and went to bed, confident that the matter was settled. That night, Kilonzo was jolted awake by the sound of strong winds howling outside his house. Eerie laughter echoed through the halls, and the noise of objects falling into other rooms filled the air. His wife, sleeping soundly next to him, seemed oblivious of the chaos. Suddenly, a knock resounded on his door. Kilonzo, his heart pounding, screamed at the unseen entities to leave, but his cries went unanswered. Two ethereal male figures floated into the room through the window, their laughter sending shivers down Kilonzo's spine. They hovered around him, their presence terrifying. One of them spoke, his voice echoing with an otherworldly menace. We are here to collect a debt on behalf of Mr. Mutinda. You have 2 days to repay, or our next visit will be worse. The figure warned, his tone chilling. The next morning, Kilonzo awoke in a state of bewilderment. Had it all been a nightmare? Shaking off his fear, he resolved not to be intimidated. In his desperation, he sought the help of a local voodoo priest, hoping to send some demons to haunt Mutinda in retaliation. A few days later, Kilonzo and his friends gathered in his living room. The atmosphere light with their usual banter. Kilonzo, feeling emboldened, boasted about his retaliatory action against Mutinda. As he regaled his friends with the tale, a sudden tremor shook the house. The lights flickered before plunging the room into darkness. When the lights came back on, Mutinda stood in the center of the room, dressed in striking red and holding a long walking stick. Kilonzo, his bravado evaporating, walked up to Mutinda, only for Mutinda to hold both his cheeks like how an adult does to a child, and then stated, "You are nothing but a small child to me." There and then, Mutinda will disappear into thin air. The lights will then come back on. Kilonzo, confused, turned back to his friends. "Did you guys see that?" he asked. Kilonzo's friends, bewildered, did not seem to understand what he was talking about. All the four of them had seen was the lights flickering and then turning back on. "No! That weirdo Mutinda was just in here a minute ago. He grabbed my face, called me a child, then disappeared into thin air," Kilonzo bellowed, his eyes now wide and reddening. His friends just stared at him with a mixture of confusion and lightheartedness. They thought he was trying to crack a joke or something. Kilonzo, realizing the gravity of his situation, knew he needed to settle his debt with Mutinda before things spiraled further out of control. However, it was too late. The next morning, Kilonzo woke up with his face paralyzed where Mutinda had touched him. He walked around with his face permanently disfigured for the rest of his life. The disfigurement, a permanent reminder of his arrogance and the debt that he failed to pay. That is it for now. It is me, your narrator, Dave Humble. We'll be seeing you soon with more stories. Keep it locked. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Bye.